Welcome to Suspense Safari, where we unravel the most intriguing mysteries from the pages of history. Today, we're diving into a chilling saga that sent shivers down the spine of an entire city, the notorious Night Stalker case. Imagine a city gripped by fear as a shadowy figure prowled the streets, leaving behind a trail of terror and death. In this episode, we're stepping back in time to revisit the bone-chilling tale of how one man's reign of terror kept an entire community on edge, and how relentless detectives raced against time to bring him to justice. Stay with us as we unravel the horrifying details of the Night Stalker's crimes, the victims who fell prey to his savagery, and the determined pursuit that led to his eventual capture. Are you ready to explore the darkest corners of the human psyche? Let's begin our journey into the enigmatic Night Stalker case. Once upon a time in Los Angeles, there was a terrifying criminal known as the Night Stalker. This is the true story of a very scary case that scared a whole city and still gives people goosebumps. The Night Stalker was actually a man named Richard Ramirez. He did really bad things like hurting people and stealing. He was very scary and did terrible things to many people. It's like a bad dream, but it was real. Terrifying crimes in Los Angeles in the 1980s. He was a ruthless killer who preyed on innocent people while they were at their most vulnerable. Ramirez's crimes were brutal and horrifying. He would break into people's homes in the middle of the night. He would then attack and often kill his victims using various methods, including shooting, stabbing, and beating them. His crimes were not only violent, but also seemed to be done without any remorse. Ramirez targeted people of all ages, from children to the elderly. He didn't have a specific type of victim, making it even more terrifying for the community. His preferred method was to enter houses at night while the residents were asleep, catching them by surprise. Ramirez's victims included both men and women, as well as couples and families. He didn't discriminate and attacked people from different walks of life. His youngest known victim was a 9-year-old girl, and his oldest was an elderly couple in their 60s. This range of victims added to the fear and panic that gripped the city. The Night Stalker's crimes spread fear and terror throughout Los Angeles. People were afraid to sleep at night, wondering if they might be his next victims. The random and brutal nature of his attacks made everyone a potential target. The police, aware of the growing panic, intensified their efforts to catch Ramirez. They analyzed evidence from crime scenes, gathered information from witnesses, and worked tirelessly to track him down. The community also played a vital role by providing tips and information that helped the police narrow down their search. The police were trying very hard to catch the Night Stalker. They wanted to stop him from doing bad things. They worked day and night to find him and make sure he couldn't hurt anyone else. The police had to look at many pieces of evidence to catch the Night Stalker. They gathered information from different crime scenes and talked to people who saw suspicious things. By connecting the dots, they started to see a pattern in the Night Stalker's actions. One big clue was a stolen car. The Night Stalker left a car he had stolen near one of the crime scenes. The police found it and were able to get some fingerprints from it. These fingerprints matched the ones they had from other places where the Night Stalker had been. People who saw the Night Stalker helped the police create a picture of what he looked like. They described his clothes, his hair, and even his teeth. The police used these descriptions to make a sketch, so they knew who they were looking for. The police and the news worked together to tell people about the Night Stalker. They showed his picture on TV and in newspapers. This made people aware of him and his crimes. Some people even recognized him and called the police with information. People who saw the news reports and sketches of the Night Stalker started to call the police. They shared information about where they had seen him or things he had said. This helped the police track his movements and figure out where he might be hiding. The police from different areas in Los Angeles worked together. They shared information and ideas to catch the Night Stalker. This teamwork made their search stronger and more effective. One day, a group of people saw a man who looked like the Night Stalker. They followed him and called the police. The police came quickly and caught him. It was a big relief for everyone who was scared of the Night Stalker. So, that's how the police caught the Night Stalker. Teamwork, evidence, and the help of the community all played a part in bringing him to justice. Finally, they caught him and took him to court. The trial was like a show where they asked him about the bad things he did. He didn't look or act like a good person at all. It was very scary for everyone in the courtroom. Throughout the trial, Ramirez displayed a disturbing lack of remorse for his actions. He often smiled and even made devilish gestures to the media and spectators. His demeanor in court shocked many, further solidifying his image as a cold-blooded and remorseless killer. The prosecution presented a compelling case, linking Ramirez to his gruesome crimes. Witnesses testified about his violent acts, and the mountain of evidence against him left little doubt about his guilt. The survivors of his attacks also shared their harrowing experiences, leaving a lasting impact on the jury and the public. In September 1989, after deliberation, the jury delivered its verdict. Richard Ramirez was found guilty on all counts. His heinous crimes, lack of remorse, and the shocking brutality of his actions led to the prosecution seeking the death penalty. In November 1989, he was sentenced to death for his crimes. While on death row, Ramirez continued to be a disturbing figure. He received fan mail from admirers who were fascinated by his crimes, adding to the twisted legacy he had created. Despite being on death row for decades, his execution never came to pass. Ramirez died in 2013 while still awaiting execution due to complications from B-cell lymphoma. Richard Ramirez's death brought a sense of closure to the survivors of his attacks and the families of his victims. Though he escaped the ultimate punishment of execution, his demise in prison marked the end of his reign of terror. When they caught the Night Stalker, people felt safer, but the things he did still made them scared. It's like a dark cloud that doesn't go away. People remember what happened, and it's hard to forget. Now you can learn more about this scary story on our YouTube channel. We talk about crimes, mysteries, and the reasons behind them. The Night Stalker story is a real example of how some people do very bad things, and we want to make sure you understand why and how it happened. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Ride in Our Safari.